Hello, students. This is lecture number 5 in biology. That is morphology of flowering plants. We have been dealing in this. I was telling you about modification of root in the previous class. How roots are exhibiting different modifications that we have seen in the previous class. You may remember roots are mainly meant for anchorage as well as absorption of water and minerals from the soil. In addition to that main function, roots can perform some more additional functions also. Those functions, for performing those functions, they have undergone some morphological changes. Those morphological changes are called modifications, we can say. Why root must undergo modification means maybe for different reasons they can undergo their modification. One of the reasons we have seen in the previous class was about storage. For the sake of storage, both taproot system and adventitious root system, they can undergo modification. In the previous class I told you about taproot modification as well as adventitious modification also. For taproot modification, we have come across conical, napiform and fusiform, like that. 3 examples we have seen. Conical modification will be exhibiting cone shape by cone shaped roots. Example for conical root modification is Daucus carota, otherwise carrot you can remember. For fusiform, we have seen radish. You may remember that point also. In the fusiform, center will be bulged. On both ends, they will be tapering. Yesterday I drew the diagram and explained you in the previous class. Okay? Right, that is fusiform radish, Raphanus sativum. It is biologically called Raphanus sativum. Third one was about napiform modification. In the napiform modification, base will be bulged, whereas middle and this one, what is the tip of the taproot, will be tapering, narrowing downwardly. That is called as napiform. For napiform, turnip, I told you one example. Even you can remember another example for napiform here. Napiform roots, they are exhibited by beetroot, remember. Beetroot, which is used as a vegetable in our day-to-day life, that beetroot is coming under napiform modification, in which base will be bulged and it will be completely tapering like this actually. This type of modification is found in beetroot. Beetroot is biologically called as Beta vulgaris, it can be called. Beta vulgaris. That is the biological name of beetroot, where it is exhibiting napiform modification. Primary root will be undergoing swelling due to storage of food material. Remaining secondary, tertiary roots will be formed here also. You may recall that is the napiform root modification. Even I was telling you about adventitious root modification for storage. You may recall that fasciculated root exhibited by asparagus. Moniliform root exhibited by a grass called cyanodon grass, like that. Even we have seen about what is that, the another type of storage modification, like a root tuber we have seen. For a root tuber, I told you the example called sweet potato. Genus Gedde, it is called that. Okay, that sweet potato. Sweet potato is biologically called as Ipomia. Okay, it is otherwise known as Ipomia batatas. It can be called. I will tell you the list of this modification later. At the end of this part, we will study about various list here. Let me continue about other type of modifications of the root. The first one was for the sake of what is that? Storage. The second type of modification we are going to study here is for the purpose of physiological modification, we can say. Before going in detail about physiological modification, yesterday I told you one more point also. For the sake of support also, the root can undergo modification actually. Support purpose. In the previous class, I was telling you about prop root and stilt root, you may be recalling. Prop roots are exhibited by banyan tree, Ficus bengalensis, it can be called. Stilt root was exhibited by sugarcane and maize plant like that. Sugarcane was biologically called as Saccharum officinale, and maize, Z maize, it can be called. Anyhow, prop root and stilt root, they are exhibiting supporting roots for that purpose. In addition to this, in this class, we will see about other kind of functions done by root modification. Please listen. There are certain physiological functions performed by the root also. Physiological modification or physiological functions, they can be called. In the prop root, along with prop root and stilt root, even we have seen about climbing roots also in the previous class. Climbing roots, bitter, what is that? This bitter leaf, pan, we are telling that bitter leaf, and this climbing piper nigrum, menusu, otherwise pepper, that is called climbing root, they are exhibiting. Piper nigrum, piper betle, they are all coming exhibiting the climbing roots. Anyhow, in this class, we shall continue about physiological modifications exhibited by the root. There are various examples given for physiological modification. Some of them are discussed in your textbook and others are important for competitive exams. So let us see. First thing you can remember here is some of the roots are called as assimilatory root. We have to remember assimilatory root. Of course, it is not given in your textbook, but it is often asked sometimes in competitive exams also. Assimilatory root we have to remember. What is this assimilatory root means? Some roots are able to perform photosynthesis also. Remember, they are able to perform photosynthesis. Generally, leaves are meant for what is that? Photosynthesis. But in these cases, roots can also undergo photosynthesis. What is the example for photosynthetic root means? You must know the example called Tinospora, or otherwise Tinospora it can be called. It is an example for assimilatory root. Dear students, there is another physiological function or another function performed by root modification also, which can be found in the case of what are the aquatic plants. That they are called as floating roots, we can say here. Floating roots. So floating root means they are able to float, buoyancy, okay? They are able to float in the water. Such type of floating roots, they are helping for floating in the water, and the example for that is Jassia. There is a aquatic plant called Jassia or hydrophyte it can be called. This hydrophyte called Jassia, it is having floating root, remember. What are hydrophytes? The plants which live in water. Such plants can be able to float in the water because of the root system, special modified root, which are known as floating root actually. Even there is an example given in your textbook also for another type of physiological function. Some of the roots, they are able to perform respiration also. So they are called respiratory root, remember. Some other kind of roots, they are performing respiration. So respiratory root is the third type of physiological function I would like to tell you here. So first one is assimilatory root meant for photosynthesis. Not only photosynthesis, some of the roots are able to do respiration. What is respiration? Taking in oxygen and giving out carbon dioxide. Why oxygen should be taken? For digesting the food or for oxidizing the food mainly. For oxidation of glucose like that, we need oxygen. That oxygen is taken by the respiratory system. In some roots, respiration is possible. There will be, even though root is an underground structure, they will be exhibiting some upward growth like this in some of the plants. Some plants will protrude their roots above the soil. They will have some openings on the root system like this. Through the opening from the atmosphere, oxygen can enter inside. So oxygen is taken by respiratory roots. For where do we find respiratory roots means? They are found in the plants growing in marshy places. So marshy places, marshy plants, they have this respiratory root. What is marshy place? The place where the river water meets the sea water. Between the river and the sea, there will be a place which will be neither fully aquatic nor fully terrestrial. They will be more in salinity also. In such a saline soil or salty soil, the plants growing there will be called as marshy soil or marshy plant or swamp places they can be called. That area is otherwise known as swampy areas. In such swampy areas, we come across respiratory root actually. What is the example for respiratory root? You must know one plant called as Avicennia, you have to remember. Avicennia. It is the best example for respiratory root. Not only Avicennia, in your textbook, Rhizoporum is also given. That Rhizoporum is also exhibiting what is that? This type of respiratory root. Rhizopora or otherwise Avicennia, they grow in marshy places, they grow in swampy places. They are meant for respiration, taking in oxygen and giving out carbon dioxide like that. Remember students, respiratory roots are otherwise called as pneumatophores also. Respiratory roots are otherwise called as pneumatophores. What are pneumatophores? Often one mark questions are asked. Pneumatophores are the modified root which are meant for respiration purpose. They are meant for respiration purpose. Which type of plants exhibit respiratory root? Mainly swampy plants growing in swampy area. Plants growing in marshy area, they exhibit respiratory root. What are the example for that? Rhizopora and Avicennia are the example for this pneumatophores. I hope you got this point. In addition to this, we can come across even a fourth type of root physiological modification also. The fourth physiological modification I would like to tell you here is about epiphytes. Remember, this is not directly given in your textbook, but in competitive exams these are asked. Epiphytes. What are epiphytes means? These are the plants which will grow on other plants. The plants which grow on other plants, they will be called as epiphytes. They do not grow on in the soil. They will be growing on other woody stem and other plants without harming them. That is the point we have to remember. They do not harm, they do not damage the host plant. They will simply growing on other plants actually. Such plants will be having one type of root called hygroscopic root. Remember, hygroscopic root. What are hygroscopic roots? These roots are meant for absorbing moisture from the plant, from the atmosphere. Imagine there are certain plants which will be having a strong stem like this. Over this plant, some other plants called epiphytes will also grow. What is the speciality of epiphytes means? They will produce roots like this, hanging roots like this will be produced by these epiphytes. Why these hanging roots are there means they are able to absorb moisture, water vapor from the atmosphere. They do not harm, just for a place they will adapt on other plant. So plants growing on other plant are called epiphytes. They have hygroscopic roots. What is the epiphyte or hygroscopic root means? They will be responsible for moisture absorption. Moisture will be absorbed by means of hygroscopic root, remember. For epiphytes, what is the example? Vanda. There is a plant called Vanda. That Vanda is the best example for what is that? Epiphytes, where epiphytes will be growing on other plant. You know the word epi. Epi means outer. Phyte means phytology, plant. Plants growing on outer surface of other plant. They are called epiphytes. That is one more type of modification of root with reference to physiological function. What are they? Assimilatory root, floating root, respiratory root, epiphytes. There are many more examples, many more modification. Let me tell you last one, the fifth one we shall remember, important ones I am discussing here. Some of the plants are exhibiting parasitic roots also. About parasitic roots, examples are what that questions are asked in the competitive exams. Parasitic roots are there exhibited by some of the plant. What are these parasitic root? They are also just like epiphytes only, but their root will not be hanging outwardly. Their root will penetrate into the plant body. When they are penetrating into the plant body, the host plant will be harmed, will be affected. So remember, this is the plant over which the parasitic roots will grow like this. Parasitic plant, but the root will penetrate into the host body like this. It is not hanging outwardly, you cannot see them, but the root will be going deep into the main plant body or this host body, it can be called. This is called host plant. This is called parasitic plant, we can see. These parasites will harm the host. Epiphytes will not harm the host. Remember this point. In epiphytes, host is not getting harmed, not getting damaged, not affected. In parasite, host will be harmed. That is called parasitic root. Parasitic root will be seen mainly in a plant called Cuscuta. Remember, Cuscuta. That is the plant where we come across parasitic roots. So root will penetrate into another plant, and from their xylem and phloem they will take the food and water like that. That is called a parasitic root. So dear students, for storage, I told you some 6 examples or 7 examples you may be remembering. 6 including taproot system and adventitious root system like that. For support, I told you some 3 examples, you may recall this point. For physiological functions, I told you 5 types of modifications. First one is called assimilatory root. Assimilatory root is meant for photosynthesis. Example, Tinospora. Second one is called floating root. They help for buoyancy or floating in the water. Example for that is Jassia. Jassia is an hydrophyte. Hydrophyte means the plant which live in water. Third one is respiratory root, which is found in Avicennia and Rhizoporum like that. Those plants are growing in marshy areas, swampy areas, more saline soil will be there. Then they are otherwise called, respiratory root is otherwise called as pneumatophores. epiphytes, Vanda, hygroscopic root, they can be called. Example is Vanda. Parasitic roots are exhibited by Cuscuta. Cuscuta can absorb the nourishment from the host body. They will harm the host body. They will take the food, they will rob the food from the host body. That is example for is Cuscuta, remember. So make note of assimilatory root, floating root, respiratory root, epiphytic root and parasitic root. Please make note. We will continue another half a minute. Okay, students, let me give you the summary about modification of root so that we can complete the root system. Now we shall go to the stem here. So before going in detail about the stem, let me tell you the summary about modification of root. What are the examples we have studied and how they are modified, that is what I am going to give you an outline now. Just listen. Root modification. First point was for the purpose of storage. As far as storage, we have come across conical type of root system which is exhibited by Daucus carota. Biological name for this carrot is called Daucus carota. So it is commonly called as carrot. Remember, this is one point we have to remember. Second one is related to fusiform modification. For fusiform modification, radish is the example you may be remembering. Radish. This radish, mullangi antivala, that radish is biologically called as Raphanus. Remember this word, Raphanus sativum, it can be called. Raphanus sativum. That is the biological name of radish. That also you have to remember. Third one is napiform root modification. We can remember here. Napiform root modification. For napiform root modification, just now I told you, Beta vulgaris, that is another example. Beetroot, that is called Beta vulgaris. So what is that Beta vulgaris? It is commonly called as beetroot. In all these things we come across taproot modification. They are all taproot which will store the food material for future use like that. Why they should store the food? For overcoming unfavorable season and for using them when there is no food availability like that. So that is next modification. The fourth one regarding storage, I told you was related to fasciculated root. In the previous class, I told you here fasciculated root. Fasciculated root will be exhibiting bunch roots. There will be bunches of root. I explained you in the previous class. For fasciculated root, example is asparagus. Remember, asparagus, it comes under fasciculated root. In addition to that, I was telling you about another point also. Moniliform root we can say. Moniliform root. Bead shaped roots they are called moniliform root. For moniliform root you have to remember an example called cyanodon, which is commonly a type of grass. Remember this point, moniliform root. Even we were seeing about another modification here, nodulated root nodules also. Another type of example, root nodule. They will exhibit nodules in the root or the sac-like structure where nitrogen fixation can be done, I told you. They are otherwise known as leguminous roots also. Pulses like Cicer arientum, which is commonly called as tur dal. Okay, that tur dal, it is also a leguminous plant where root nodules are present actually. In addition to that, even we were talking about climbing roots also. For the sake of support I was telling, but in the case of storage, root tuber we have to remember. Tuberous root. Remember, for root tuber, we have seen some more examples also, that is sweet potato. Sweet potato, which is biologically called as Hypomia batatas. It is biologically Hypomia batatas. Commonly it is called as sweet potato. So remember, this is regarding storage. 7 storage functions we have seen related to root modification. I hope you got this point. Just make note. Okay. So this is for storage modification. We shall see about support root modification. For the purpose of support, I have to tell you. The second purpose was for the sake of support. In the previous class I explained all these things, but still some that summary I will tell you. It can be work for one more questions like that. As far as support is concerned, there are 3 modifications I told you in the previous class. One is called as prop root. Prop root is exhibited by Ficus bengalensis. Remember, Ficus bengalensis. It is commonly called as banyan tree. Remember this point. Banyan tree, where the root will be hanging downwardly. When they touch the soil, they further grow and they support the plant mainly. That is prop root. Second type of supporting root we have seen is regarding stilt root. Remember, as far as stilt root is concerned, we saw them in the sugarcane and maize also. Sugarcane, saccharum, okay, saccharum, officinale it can be called. Saccharum officinale. Genus name is Saccharum, species name is officinale. It is commonly called as sugarcane. This is also exhibiting one type of root called stilt root, where proximal nodes of the stem will be producing the root for supporting purpose. Third one we studied here was climbing root, you may be remembering, where weak stemmed plant like betlay or pawn leaf. Okay, they are those plants, they are exhibiting roots for climbing purpose. They will catch hold of any even non-living object also, something like a stone pillar or some other thing, and they will grow over it. That is a climbing root. Example for climbing root is Piper nigrum, pepper. That is called Piper nigrum. Menace antivala menace. Okay, that is Piper nigrum. Remember, where we can come across this type of climbing root actually. Okay, remember, this is commonly called as what is that? Pepper plant. Okay, these are 3 types of supporting root. 7 types for storage, 3 types for what is that? Support. So 7 plus 3. In addition to that, just now I told you 5 types of physiological modification also. 5 types, what are they? Assimilatory root, you may be remembering, floating root, epiphytes, parasitic root, respiratory root. Is it or not? All the 5 types just now I listed and gave you examples also. Whereas assimilatory root is exhibited by Ctenospora for photosynthesis. Floating root was exhibited by Jassia for floating buoyancy in the water. Third one is respiratory root, exhibited by Avicennia and Rhizopora. They will take oxygen, give out carbon dioxide, they will come above the soil. Where do we find those nematophores? They are present in marshy places. Even I told you about epiphytes. Epiphytes do not harm, but they grow on other host plant. Remember, what is the difference between climbing root and epiphyte means? Climbing roots can climb even on non-living object. As I told you, even on our windows and other things also they can climb and grow. But epiphytes will grow only on living host body, living plant like that. That is Vanda, you may be remembering. They will have hygroscopic root. One of the important question is hygroscopic root will be absorbing moisture from the atmosphere. Then I told you about a parasitic root called Cuscuta also. Parasitic root will be penetrating into the host body and derive the nourishment. So another 5 types of physiological functions we have seen. Totally around 15 root modifications I have described. Each one is worth of 1 mark question. There will be many competitive questions in competitive exams also based upon this root modification. Okay, so very important heading, root and root modification. Make note of this. We shall go for stem. Okay, I am going to start with another morphological organ called stem for the angiosperm. Just a minute. Okay, students, we are seeing about morphology of angiosperm or flowering plant. There are some 7 organs of a flowering plant which we are seeing one by one. So far only about root I told you. The second important organ we have to remember is about stem. Stem of the plant we have to describe here. Dantu antantivalla dantu, okay, that is stem of the plant. This stem, about their general characters and everything we are going to discuss. Please remember, spelling for stem is STEM only. Many of you will write STEAM, STEAM you will be writing. That should be in physics. Okay. Here, stem we have to remember. The stem can be general characters of the stem. I will describe you here. General characters of the stem. Just like general characters of the root, we shall discuss about general characters of the stem also. A stem of the plant or angiosperm can be usually described as aerial part of the plant body. It can be called aerial part of the plant or aerial part of the angiosperm will be called as a stem actually. In root I told you it is an underground part. It is a subterranean part we have discussed. But here remember, stem is an example, it is the aerial part of the plant. What is meant by aerial part means? The stem will be located above the soil like this. They are exposed to the environment. They are exposed to the atmosphere. So they are called the aerial part of the plant. That is the first point we have to remember. Suppose in one mark question, if it is asked, what is your stem means? You can write it is an aerial part of the angiosperm or aerial part of the stem we can say. Second point, second general character we can remember is this aerial part. Either it may be a weak stem or it may be a strong and woody stem we can see. It may be a weak stem, as in the case of pumpkin and other plants like grape vine, pumpkin, all these things, they are exhibiting weak stem, including jasmine plant and other things. They do not have very woody strong stem like that. They do not grow like a tree. They will either become herbaceous plant or a shrub like that. So weak stemmed plants are there, and some of them are strong stemmed plant. They will be having very strong stem. They will be woody in nature. You cannot simply break them. You need an axe to cut that stem actually. So it is some of the stems are strong. Otherwise, some plants, some angiosperms exhibit strong stem. Some of them exhibit weak stem actually. Third point, the third character we can remember here is the stem will be originating from a part called as plumule or plumule of the plant. So it originates from a part called plumule. Remember this word. In a root I told you one point. Roots are originating from radicle of the seed. Do you remember that? In the embryonic axis it is called, when we open the seed like this. In this seed there will be an axis like structure here, that is called embryonic axis. One end of the embryonic axis will give rise to root. Another end will be giving rise to stem actually. That end or that part from which the stem arises, that is called as plumule, remember. I hope you can write the differences between root and stem also. Roots can be underground part, whereas stem is an aerial part. Do you get this point? Roots originate from radicle, whereas stem will originate from plumule of the seed. So in embryonic axis or seed, there will be plumule. From that plumule, the stem will be originating. Where from root will originate? Radicle. R-A-D-I-C-L-E. I told you, not radical. C-A-L. This is radical, and this one is what the stem is originating from plumule. Next point is, in the stem, or the stem will be usually green in color when they are young. When the stem is young, it will be green in color. but the same stem will become brown in color when they become or when they are old in nature. So old stem will be brown in color, young stem will be green in color in majority of the angiosperm. I am talking about general characters. We are not talking about exceptions here. Generally, stem will be green in color in young plant. When they become old, the stem will become brown in color. Very important, another point we can discuss here is, in the stem, there will be nodes and internodes present. Stem will be having nodes and internodes in them. So, special structures called nodes and internodes are present in the stem actually. What are nodes and internodes? Remember, in the plant like sugarcane and all, you can come that the stem will be having markings like this or demarcation like this. Even in bamboo tree, bamboo stem and all, you can see. Biduru antantivala, biduru, okay, that bamboo, where you can come across this type of markings. These demarcations are called nodes. Remember, okay, nodes. This about nodes I told you in the stilt root also. Proximal nodes of the sugarcane will give rise to stilt root. So that is node. This is one node, this is another node we can say. Between the nodes, there is a gap or there is a space present here. Between the nodes, there is a place. That area between the nodes will be called as internode. Remember this point. They are called internodes. So, nodes and internodes are common characters or general characters of a stem. But remember, when they become a tree, when they become very old like that, these nodes and internode may not be clearly visible. But in some of the stems, you can come across nodes and internode also. Another point is, they have buds also in them. The stem will be having buds in them. What are buds means? Buds are nothing but growing tips of the plant body will be called as buds, remember, growing tip. So in the plant, there will be growing tip like this. One interesting point you have to remember is, animals will have unlimited growth. We animals, including human beings, we cannot grow for unlimited time like that. But plants can grow unlimitedly. Plants will exhibit growth unlimited. How they can exhibit unlimited growth means, they have special regions called growing tips. Those growing tips are called buds of the stem, we can say. Students, there are two types of buds we can remember. One is called as axillary bud, it can be called. Another one is called as apical bud, remember this point. So there are axillary bud and apical bud. Auxiliary bud, they are present at the corners of the nodes here. In the corner of the nodes like this, we can come across auxiliary bud. These are called auxiliary. Whereas apical buds are present at the tip of the stem, remember. The tip of the stem will be having apical bud. Corners of the nodes will be having auxiliary bud actually. From the auxiliary bud only, branches of the tree will be arising. So branches are formed by auxiliary bud. Leaves are formed by auxiliary bud like this. Okay, remember, flowers are produced by auxiliary bud. So, in the stem, there I can tell you about a seventh general character also. A stem will be having, or it will bear. Bear means having. They will bear, or this stem will bear, flowers. They may bear leaves. They may bear fruits, etc. So flower, fruit, seed, otherwise leaves, etc. will be present on the stem also. That is another point. Because how? Because of the auxiliary bud, they will contain all these organs. Lastly, one more point I want to tell you here. A stem can be described as negatively geotropic. It can be described as negatively geotropic, but positively phototropic organ. It can be described as negatively geotropic, positively phototropic organ also. What is meant by geotropic? Geography, geology means study of earth. They do not grow towards the earth. Root is positively geotropic, but stem is negatively geotropic. They will grow away from the soil. They will grow away from the soil, not towards the soil. So that is called negatively geotropic. But the stem will be growing towards sunlight. Phototropic means what? Photo refers to light. So they will grow towards the light, away from the soil. That is why stems are called negatively geotropic, positively phototropic. What about roots? Roots are positively geotropic. They will grow towards the soil. They will grow away from the light. Opposite point you have to remember. Around 8 general characters of the stem I told you so far. They are the aerial part of the plant. They may be either weak or strong and woody in nature. They originate from the plumule, not from the radicle. They are green in color when they are young, but become brown in color when they are old. They will have nodes and internodes in them. They will have buds like auxiliary bud and apical bud also. What are buds? Growing tip of the plant body will be called buds. They bear flowers, leaves and fruits, etc. A stem will be negatively geotropic and positively phototropic. Negatively geotropic means growing away from the soil. Positively phototropic means growing towards the sunlight. So why they should grow towards the sunlight? For getting sunlight and to undergo photosynthesis. They will be exhibiting all these points. So we completed root modification in today's class, especially regarding physiological modification. Then I told you another 5 mark question, general characters of the stem. In 3 marks if they ask, you have to write some important 3 points. In 5 marks you can write some 5 points like that. So with this we are completing this class. Okay, this is about stem general character. Even in stem also there will be modifications, just like root there will be modification. About them we will be studying in the later classes. Right, thank you. Thank you.